Good morning, my neighbours!
Beautiful ladies and the gentlest of men, it's Friday. We've made it through another week, we've survived, and it's time for an alternative paper review. First up to Rupert Murdoch's The Sun this morning. I'm baby reindeer Martha, but I'm not a stalker. This is a story that the international Netflix hit Baby Reindeer, which is ostensibly the tale of what happens when you take two people with different respective mental challenges and smash them into one another. Well, that show, which is supposed to be based on the lived experience of the writer and star, has a character in it called Martha, and it took internet sleuths all of like 7 days to track down the real Martha, in inverted quotes. And anyway, initially, she was like, look, I don't know Richard Gadd. All I know is he was a failed comedian. He was a barman in a place that I used to go. But it's not, that character isn't real. That was her initial response. Now she's come out, she's saying, yeah, okay, all right. I am Martha, and here's my story. And so today you have the front page splash on The Sun. Last night was an exclusive interview with Piers Morgan on Uncensored, which is also Rupert Murdoch's, by the way. I mean, do any of you remember the Leveson inquiry? Lots of talk about press standards, about journalistic integrity, duty of care. Do you remember Rupert Murdoch sitting effectively in the dock saying, oh, this is the humblest day of my life? There was so much talk about fines and regulators and a newspaper's charter. Practices that may have taken place before, but now we see the light. We will draw a line under them. We are new people. We've changed, like Elphick and Brand. But when I see stuff like that, like Sun interviews and Piers Morgan exclusives with a woman with, we have to assume, a well-documented history of mental challenges, I don't know, like, it's not just me, is it? Like, it seems like somebody up high in News UK has cut her a deal. They're like, yeah, I know that you've got some mental challenges and you're probably at best medicated these days, but how about we cut you a check, right? We will pay you £150,000 if you come on Piers Morgan and then The Sun and you just talk that crazy shit. You just spiral back into where you were like 10 years ago. Is this responsible journalism, is it? Like, the only way that this sort of journalism is okay is if it does turn out that Richard Gadd's story is a complete fabrication. Like, he's hugely exaggerated characters and what took place. And that actually, this poor bitch is just a nice lady who came in for a cup of tea and he fantasized that she was his stalker. But really, then it comes down to the question of who do you trust more, Richard Gadd and Netflix or Rupert Murdoch? Over to the Express now. Who will win the tug of war over interest rates? This is a story that inflation is set to fall below the Bank of England's target, which is great news, right? Because then the Bank of England would, in theory, drop interest rates and make everyone's lives that little bit easier. But the Tories have just had their asses handed to them in the locals, and they're not in any rush to call a general election, and they would really like it if the drop in interest rates and economic breathing space coincided perfectly with the beginning of their GE campaign. So there is this tug of war. There's the Telegraph saying Hunt urges bank not to rush the rate cuts, which is all just, you know, hyperbole and political theatre, because remember, guys, the Bank of England is not political. It's independent. Like, it's just up to the Bank of England. It's nothing to do with the government. There's no more of a tug of war to this. Like, please don't drop the interest rates than there would be with me talking to my bank, like, please don't hike the interest rates. Like, I wish I'd thought of that defence last year when the mortgages exploded, you know? Rishi Sunak's like, oh, I can't really do anything. Hold your nerve. Jeremy Hunt was like, oh, we can't really do anything because the Bank of England is independent from us. They set the base rate. I go back to the missus and go, yeah, Santander said they're changing our mortgage from £900 a month to £2,000 a month. She's like, oh, what are we going to do? We can't afford that. I'll be like, oh, it's okay, darling. It's okay. I've asked them very nicely to not rush hiking our interest rate. Yeah, I'm having a right tug of war with them. Over to the Eye now. Dominic Cummings says Boris and I saved thousands from COVID, but we won't talk again. Right, any chance you could shut the up then? And finally to the Times, who say truancy is up by a fifth on Fridays. This is the story that Education Minister Gillian Keegan has taken some time out from removing rack concrete from the skulls of children. Yeah, no, fair play, Gilly. No, you are doing a good job. Good job with that one. To warn us that parents who work from home on Friday are contributing to this increase in child truancy at schools, which are now up by about a fifth. Apparently that's the fault of parents working from home. Are you sure it's not that you've made school death traps and there's not enough teachers, and the ones that you are hiring, you're deregulating the skill sets, so there's not enough staff and the new ones don't have the training to keep an eye on the few that don't get a breeze block in their head, Chili? No. It is definitely somehow work from home parents. But to me that seems all like arse backwards. Like, does she understand what parents working from home actually means? Like, ask yourself this: which child is freer to play truant if they should so wish, right? The kid whose single mother works 10 hours a day at Tesco and can't be in the house to see if this kid has played truant and come home, or the HR manager who can work from home and sees their kid come back through the back gate at 9:45. Like, why are you here? Get back to school, you little prick. That's it. Go on. Clear off. You little... Just can't get rid of him sometimes. It's like having my own stalker. Rupert, get away from him.